wait a few seconds to get people to join in.
Let's make sure we're both in it.
Yeah, last time the angles weren't the best, and you never know when you don't have like proper production, I guess, equipment. This is not what we do as a profession. So we'll get better at it, but we wanted to be consistent and bring some good information alive, and we're hoping that you guys are actually liking what we're talking about. But yeah, so what do we have today? We have a few different things today. We have
the big announcements. So that would be like interest rate, what's changing in our industry, like rules, mortgage rules, so many things like affecting the marketplace. And then we also wanted to lean into maybe not talking like all about the boring stuff, maybe get into there's some like reality TV stuff we want to talk about, there's lifestyle stuff we want to talk about. I don't know if we're gonna have all the time.
Yeah, but let's get to it.
But let's just jump into what are the trends you're seeing in the current real estate market, and what are some things that recently have changed?
Yeah, so as you know, we're going into the fall market, which is our second most active market here in Ottawa and the GTA. And generally the reason for that is people have come from vacation, kids have already settled in school, and people are getting into thinking, well, I want to get into my next home. And whether it be before the holidays, now a lot of people are hopeful that they can do it before the holidays. And the holidays are like, 2 months away? So, we definitely have a few of our clients that are in that same boat where they are ready to rock and roll. But I think that when it comes to the trends, well, because of the interest rate drop as of yesterday, we are seeing people, both buyers and sellers, feeling more comfortable, and we are having conversations with them where they're like, yeah, you know what, I wasn't previously thinking of putting my home in the market because maybe there's not a lot of people looking to get into the marketplace or they can't afford it. And we are having conversations with those sellers, and they're feeling more comfortable and confident to put their homes in the market, both on the exclusive side and on the public side. So that's really, really good. But also we're having conversations with buyers where they also feel like, yeah, it's a good time for us to get into the marketplace before the marketplace gets crazy. And so I think like on both ends, it's all looking a lot more positive. There's always, these conversations I hear though that I want to tell people to like be careful about, which is like, oh, there's going to be a lot more rate cuts, sorry. There's going to be a lot more cuts. And the problem with that is that these kind of people might find themselves get caught in not the nicest market, because everybody, whenever it comes to this, like sellers, they want to sell their home at the peak, like at the highest price point, and then buyers tendency is to want to like sell it at the lowest price point, right? Buy it at the lowest price point. And so the problem with that is you are trying to predict something that you have absolutely no way of knowing, and you will get yourself caught in timing yourself not correctly. So I would say like get in there right now if you can, get the price, and then you can date the rate is what I say. But overall, I think like a lot of people feel comfortable and confident about the marketplace, so it's really, really good. The other thing is, so the rates dropped by 1% yesterday, right? Sorry, not by 1.5% yesterday, soon to be. And that has helped a lot of people obviously feel comfortable. We also have a lot of other things that have taken place as well when it comes to mortgages that maybe I want to tell our viewers about. One of which is as of November 15th, right? Is it the 21st? Sorry, November 21st. Basically, they've announced that if you're renewing your mortgage with another lender, you don't have to qualify for the 2% stress test. So you don't have to go through the stress test. So for those of you, maybe you're not in Canada and you're like, what the heck is the stress test? So in Canada, whenever you want to qualify for mortgage, you not only have to be able to qualify for the percentage that is the current interest rate, but also you have to qualify for 2% more than that. So whatever that interest rate is, let's say it's 4, you have to qualify for now 6%. Yes, it's a Canadian thing, but it was put in place for when the interest rates start to climb up, you would be comfortable and secure in paying your payments without defaulting. And so that's why it was placed. But you have to understand, some of the people that are coming up for renewal, they locked in their rate at like under 2%, some of them. So now that the interest rates are like, let's say 4 or 5%, and they have to qualify for 7% or 6%, that's like a huge jump. That's like triple the amount that they initially qualified for. So what now? Like they have to sell. So this is good. This is a good initiative that they started. So that's awesome. I mean, it's great. It's not amazing, but it's great. And then the other thing is, as of December 15th, they've mentioned that they're removing the cap for the 25-year amortization period. They're increasing that to 30 years. And the other thing for December 15th was with regards to the cap for insured mortgages. So for insured mortgages, typically it was like right till $1 million. You had to be, anything over $1 million purchase, you needed to put 20% down. But now what they've done is they're willing to increase that to 1.5. So if you're purchasing anything over $1 million, which a lot of homes in Toronto are over $1 million, and even in Ottawa, they're over $1 million, this will allow people to actually qualify and get into the marketplace, which is great, because before this, like a lot of the purchasers were having a hard time qualifying for that. Like 20% of $1 million is like $200,000. That's a lot of money considering everything else. So, that's another great initiative that they've taken.
Yeah, and I think with that, more people will be able to qualify for something that they really want, which through my Zoom meetings and all the people I talk to is like a lot of people want to do the multi-generational home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether it be for their real family, or they want to do something in the basement, they want to rent it out, they want income coming in. Usually when I talk to people, they're like, okay, well, my price point for single unit is something, lower. But if I had the opportunity to get income, then, I would go up. So this might really help them. Do you think that there is opportunities for buyers here in this marketplace? And do you think there's opportunities for sellers?
So right now, I think that there's definitely here's the thing. So for me, if you're getting into the market, just like don't get into the market because, oh my gosh, is there like I'm trying to take advantage of the opportunity. And that's like, I get it where that mentality is, but like first and foremost, like the moment you make up your mind that you need to move, you want to move, you just have to go for it. So there's absolutely opportunities for both, for buyers and sellers. it's very different when we are working with buyers, because buyers are trying to find that like amazing gem that fits their lifestyle, that fits, you know, what it is that their family's needs are, right? So at a good price as well, at an affordable price, and something that they could grow into with with an ability to increase in the future. Whereas the sellers are also trying to sell their homes for the most amount of money because they need to move to their next chapter, whatever that is, whether it be like an addition to the family or a reduction from the family because kids have moved out or other things, you know. So there is opportunity, and I like this market. We as agents, I don't think we like the crazy market that was there in 2021, 2022. I remember like so many agents, if you remember, like in the office, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't like this, you know, clients aren't getting it, like, or like the clients weren't able to secure or do their due diligence, like do inspections and things like that. But the agents that did love it were the agents that it was just easy. You know, you just put it in the market and bam, you know, it's sold or what have you. So there was not a lot of skill involved. You know what I mean? Whereas now there is a lot of skills involved. The conversations to have, you know, behind the scenes when like people, whether you're representing a buyer or representing the seller, like what is that conversation? And this kind of market is where skilled agents, they shine and they get to show what it is that they do best. And the ones that were there for like the gold rush, well, they're exiting the industry. So for me, this is a great opportunity for both buyers and sellers to get into the marketplace. And I would say a lot of the buyers, it's great opportunity because, you know, the government has like basically closed off our borders to foreign investors. So now what happens is you guys have the opportunity to get into the marketplace without worrying about foreign money coming in here, you know, so and get your foot through the door and, you know, get into home ownership. So I think it's great. Yeah.
So
what about you? What do you think about that?
Well, I think that this marketplace does present a lot of opportunities for buyers and investors. That's what I see on this side of it. Mm-hmm. Like just because of our inventory, I feel like there's maybe a temporary moment of time where the buyers aren't quite activated, but the sellers have been waiting for this because this is their cue to like put it on up. Mm-hmm. Because now we've also broken, I think, a mental barrier that we're in the 3%. Mm-hmm. That kind of happens when you enter a different threshold. It almost seems like we see that, right? Like when we price stuff, it's like $399 or $400. Like it's so different, but it's almost the same.
Yeah.
So I think that there's huge opportunity there, but there is huge opportunities for sellers too. Like we've been saying it on our lives week after week. Just because there's a lot of inventory doesn't mean everybody's getting the same amount of attention, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. And it's kind of funny how that works, right? Because you would sometimes think a certain property would do really well, and then suddenly it's like it's not. And it could just be like that 1 week, you know, just like the launch, you know what I mean? That it didn't hit all the different points. But you know, the most important thing when that happens is to be able to adjust. Don't be like so stuck. Okay, we're in, so that's it, let's leave it. No, I think like, you know what, if things aren't working, it's okay, we can repair it, we can like revive it. So I don't know, that's another thing, right? Like so many times you see that in the marketplace where like, you know, things are moving. Well, why don't you adjust? You know, why don't you? And by adjust, I don't mean price, by the way. It's not always the price. Yes, a huge portion of it has got to do with price, but there's all these other things involved as well. And I think that sellers as well themselves, when it comes to listing, have a lot to say when it comes to their homes, right? Like, if we see a home sitting in the market for a long time, it's not just like, you know, the agent. It really takes a team, like two to tango, you know, the agent and the sellers. Like, the sellers cannot be so like stuck on their ways as well. They should be willing to have this conversation. As a seller, I'd say, like, for myself, what I hated was like having my home for sale and I don't hear anything, like no kind of suggestion. And it's like, are you even like caring that there's something happening about this listing, or like what's going on, right? So yeah, that I think is where the frustration comes for a lot of sellers. But understand that your agent is your mouthpiece with everybody else. So a lot of the times, right, if your agent isn't expressing and sharing what it is that they need to be, like your wishes, that's huge. That can backfire, right?
Yes, that is true. And like, I know on the buyer side, always when I'm talking to my buyers, it's like they're assuming that when I have a message for them that this is what the seller said. No, this is not what the seller said on most occasions, because most occasions I'm dealing with another agent, but we do, you know, have people from our database, and sometimes we do hear it directly from the seller. But I have to be like, this is actually what their agent said. So if we really want to talk to the seller, it will be through an offer.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. Exactly. And that's another good point. So I was having a conversation where, you know, with clients where they were like, okay, is it like really what the seller said, or is it what their agent said? And I said, you know, we can put stuff on paper and get this information from the seller. Because you have to understand that whenever an offer is written, you 100%, like, we are obligated, unless we have a written notice from the seller or instruction from the seller stating that I do not want to see offers at this, right? Otherwise, every single offer has to be presented to the seller. Like, we are actually obligated to present every offer, right? So that's something that I think, like, the public doesn't know. They think like, oh, well, do we know if our offer was presented? And so the way to make sure that your offer was presented is to, like, make sure you get something in writing. Even if it's like decline, get the other side, the seller, to write decline and sign it. So this way you have something in writing. It is a bit old school, but it is a thing, right?
Yeah, I've gotten them back. You know, we don't win them all, and I'll tell you here right now, not every single one of my offers has been accepted. You know, but sometimes they say respectfully declined. I appreciate that.
It's, you know what, it's good that you mentioned that, because a lot of the times people always see the good things and highlight the good things, and you gotta love real estate to be in real estate. But, you know, I think as agents, if you're aspiring to be an agent, you have to be okay with rejection to a degree, right? Like, are you crying?
No, oh my gosh, it's my contacts, but it does hit. I'm like, this is rejection therapy to the hardest degree. You'll be rejected by your own potential clients, your own active clients, other agents, you know, people that want to sell. You'll be rejected by your friends and family that may say, like, don't work in commission-based businesses because there's nothing like that you could provide for your family with that. I mean, especially in Ottawa, like I'll say this to like people born and raised in Ottawa, when everybody you know is in government and you decide to go into real estate, it could be a whole rejection therapy there.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, which we're leading into very well, we always talk about market for buyers and sellers. Like, what about the market for realtors? And I will say every single marketplace, I do think even in 2022, you had to be skilled, especially in the buyer's seat. When you're representing buyers, it's like, how is your offer gonna shine besides money when there's 20 other offers? And it's not always through a letter. So what do you think about like what's going on with agents in this transitional market?
You know, it's funny because as you're talking, before we get into that question, I was thinking to myself, like yesterday, somebody sent me a video, or I should say a reel, of another agent, and I was looking through the comments. There were a lot of comments on the video, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's interesting. So I started reading the comments, and some people, they're just like really not nice online, you know? It's like, it's just a face, so who cares? We can just say whatever. And this agent, like, they were like saying not nice things. And this agent was just saying, okay, thank you so much for your comment and consideration and feedback. And I was like, my gosh, like, we take a lot, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think like people, and maybe it's like a Canadian thing too. I don't know if it's like because we're just born that way to be like respectful or whatever. But I mean, guys, like, we go through a lot, so I think it's nice to be nice online. You know, don't go too, you know, don't go too crazy. And like, as agents, you know, it's like, we're in it because of the passion. I think more than anything else, we're in it because we like it. We like looking at homes. We like helping people change their lives. You know, you have to, because otherwise you're gonna be like the over 80% that are gonna leave the business within the first 5 years, right?
Yes, for sure. I've definitely seen all those comments that you're talking about.
It was harsh. Oh my gosh.
That some of them say like realtors are useless, like they're whatever, they're sucking the economy, they're taking advantage, whatever it is. But like, what I found very nice that I think some other people in our industry here in Ontario were like sweating about was this, like, that you can under TRESA be a self-represented buyer, and like, this is your right. And like, if you don't want to use a realtor on either side, you 100% can do that. And I think what helps me is like, we are a service, just how you can get your nails done by somebody, or you could do them at home, or you can go out to eat, or you can make it at home.
Yeah.
Right? So it's optional, 100% optional to use an agent. And I hope like everybody we work with is opting in enthusiastically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But
absolutely.
With the idea of agents in mind, and like making a livelihood and navigating this market, what do you think are some challenges? What do you think's...
Well, I think, okay, so it's kind of funny because I was thinking about that, and just the other day I was driving, I'm like, you know, you have to be really passionate about real estate. And I would say the challenge for a real estate professional as a female, what I found hard throughout the years is like balancing my personal and professional life. And at the beginning you're like, well, I kind of like kids, but like focus is family, right? But as you get into it, it sucks you right in, right? Doesn't it? Like I experienced that. I don't know if it's the same for you, but like it does. It sucks you right in.
It's a little different for me just because I got into this as my like first career, and like I didn't have kids, so I don't think like the focus was family at the beginning, but I think a lot of people get it at your chapter.
Yeah, so for me, I was a very young mom, and when I got into it, like at the beginning of my marriage, and so it was, and I was young for like amongst my peers, like everybody would look at me and be like, oh, like it was just so like not natural. Like people my age would not get into real estate. There are a lot of people that were like doing it after having a whole career and doing this as like a retired after, like I always wanted to do real estate, or I've been a home buyer and an investor and stuff like that. So it was never like their first career. But like you, yes, I did have something I was doing before, but I got into it as like, okay, as a business. All right. And when I got into it at the beginning, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to have a business and I'm going to have my life with my kids and things like that. But what happened was soon enough, when I started having clients, I was a type of person, and I still am, where I like to respond to people right away. I don't leave stuff for the next day because I hate for it to pile up, because it's like if you don't respond to this person, then there's going to be another inquiry, another one, and it just kind of piles up. And initially the issue was just emails. You'd be like dealing with the emails and it's fine, one channel of communication. But now what I'm finding is that it's not just emails. We get contacted through emails. We get contacted through all kinds of social media channels. As you know, you guys are watching us from one. So like we get DMs on whether it's gotta be Instagram, Facebook. But to top all of this stuff, like LinkedIn, right? YouTube, Google, like everywhere, right? So not only that, but now what we're getting is people messaging us through WhatsApp. Like that's the other thing, and text messages and group messages, and there's like so many different ways in which people communicate at so many different hours. So our job is not 9 to 5. People get off of work at 5 and they're like, okay, I'm done with my professional work. Now I'm gonna focus on my situation, which is like my needs of housing and things like that. Or they start dealing with their bills and things like that. And so our conversations or showings a lot of the times happen after 5 o'clock. So what I found was, and that's the reason why I'm saying like it just pulls you in more and more, because not only the industry is set that way, but also like having all these different changes of communication, like Zoom meetings weren't a thing before COVID, right? And it became a thing, like showings, the showings that we do through the phone weren't a thing before COVID, but it is now. So people can be like, outside with their family vacationing, but yet they're still wanting to look at homes, right? So what I find as a female realtor, what's hard is, and you know what, I mean, if you guys are watching, if there's some like female realtors out there watching, give me a like, give me some love, because it's true. If you're out there, you're gonna get a lot of people just come at you, right? They want, and if you're the type of person that want to help people, it's just so natural that you're like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, da 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 da, and you tend to underestimate your time that you have in a day. So you just take on a lot of tasks. So the difficulty there is like balancing personal life and professional life. But I gotta tell you, over the years, what I've also learned is that when you have a good schedule, calendar, like, and live by it, you know, you'd be surprised how many people would respect that and would, like, you know, fall right into your timeline. So now, as you know, you see it in my calendar, I have times that are blocked, for my family, right? Like, it's after this time, it's family time. It's not all the time, but it is family time, because that's important too. So that's the challenge for, I would say, most realtors, but female realtors, because also as a mom, you start to have these guilts of like, oh my gosh, I'm not there for this, I'm not there for that. One of my worst real estate day, like, experience, I would say, is that I was out for my kids' soccer game, and then I got a call. This is, you know, earlier on in my career. I got a call from someone saying, hey, I want to see this listing, you know, can you show me this? And it wasn't even my client, right? That's the reason why we do the way we do things, right? And here I was like, okay, I told my husband, okay guys, I'm gonna go rushing to this place. And, you know, these people are like, hi, you know, you're trying to be all friendly. You go in, show the home, and okay, thanks, bye. And you're like, oh my gosh, I left my kids' soccer game for this, for this like stranger that's not even a client, and they just kind of feel like we're obligated to open the door for them and just let them in, because I was worried about losing that business, right? It is such a competitive marketplace, right? Real estate is the most competitive industry. That's the reason why over 85% of people leave the industry, because it seems so interesting and exciting and whatever, but it is very competitive, because like, you don't have to have that big of a qualification to get into it. You know, funny enough, I wanted to get into medical school prior to this, so that very hard to get into. Real estate, not so much. So, but at the same time, so much competition in it. And at that point, I realized something's gotta change. Like, I cannot live like this. I cannot leave my kids to go here to show something. And you know what? With all due respect to those like people that called me, they didn't know, you know, and it's not their fault, because the industry standard norms is telling people, oh, just call, you know, you don't need to sign anything, you don't need to be anybody's clients, just go call and they will open the doors for you. And it's the worst thing. And the worst thing with that is that brokerages don't teach their agents, new agents, that this is what you should do. This is like, you cannot be just walking into an empty home with a bunch of strangers, you know? So anyways, over the years, that's what I learned. But I gotta say, like, when it comes to male agents, what I have experienced, and I've like, not experienced, what I have noticed with male agents is that if you're young and not yet in a relationship, they have a hard time getting into a relationship. And some of them that are in a relationship, they have a hard time staying in that relationship, because the work is just so demanding. It is so, you know, like, which spouse, female spouse, would be okay in this day and age for their husband to be in and out, whether it has to do with networking or like meeting people and things like that, and never seeing the family. So that is a challenge. And then not getting paid enough. Like, I mean, you know, speaking of which, like, I mean, you know, the other day, you know, sometimes I have time to, so I was watching TV and I'm like, oh, it's a good show to just like pull up and to just like my husband says, like, to kill the brain cells in my, my brain cells. And the reality TV show was like, is Love is Blind. So there's like a new season, and I don't know what it is. Like, there's always a real estate agent, and male real estate agent, by the way. It's not the female real estate agent, but there's always male real estate agents there. And honestly, like, that guy was like, yeah, that's what a real estate agent is, right? You saw it too.
Yeah.
We're talking about
I saw it. His name's Nick, if we want to.
Nikki D.
Nikki D.
Yeah.
Very smooth talker. I was thinking, like,
Yeah.
that's good for real estate. It's funny because everybody thought he was a player, but I do think that if you're in sales, you're just nice.
Yeah.
Like, you're just nice. You know how to get along. You know how to roll with whatever anybody says.
Yeah.
And also, I thought it was so refreshing that when we went to his house, because he got in a relationship with a girl named Hannah, we go to
in the show, you mean?
In the show.
Okay, yeah.
In the show.
Yeah.
And they go to his house, and he lives in the basement of his parents' house at 28 years old. And I was like, how refreshing. This is exactly how I started my real estate career. Like, earlier.
Yeah.
And everybody assumes, like, you have to have, like, such a nice house, such a nice car to get into it. And I was like, this is the real life. Like, not like Selling Sunset or any of these other aspirational $1 million listing. It's like, we never see the parents' basement. And, like, thank God.
Yeah. And I love how, like, this scene where he was showing his face and he had all these cards, his business cards. I remember when I first got my real estate license, and I was in the brokerage, I was like, oh my God, because you don't have your cards before you're in a brokerage because you want to know which brokerage information to put in your cards. And here I was like, no, I can't contact anybody because I don't have my cards. I don't have my real estate business cards. And it's so funny because, like, you don't need your cards to do any kind of business, but I love the scene where he had, like, this stack of the business cards and he was like, yeah, this is me. And he was like, and you're, like, so proud, as a, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, I just opened up shop, this is my business. So I get that. But, honestly, that's what it is. For male agents, I find that it's hard to keep up with the relationship because it's just so demanding. It is so demanding. Yeah, and you have to, the way to go about it though, the successful agents, is that, again, you have to live by your schedule and your calendar and make sure that everybody's communicated with and service and things like that. So, yeah.
And, like, make sure that if family is important to you, that they're booked in. Like, if working out's important to you, that's booked in.
Yeah.
What I was thinking about when you're talking, because you're talking about balance and all this, in some of our books that we read, sometimes it seems like you need to be unbalanced.
Yeah.
Right? To get to the next level. Like, if you're going to be balanced, you're going to be like everybody else, you're going to get like everybody else results. Do you think there's a portion of, getting into business that it's like you kind of have to be unbalanced?
Well, so you mentioned about the books. We, just for you guys' reference, and we may have talked about this in the past, but like as an organization, we commit to basically everybody leveling up. And so one of the things that we do, one of the initiatives that we started almost a year ago is committing to reading a book together. And I know it sounds a bit dorky and like, people in the organization are dorky a little bit maybe. Sorry, Eva. But, we are. We like to learn and things like that. So What I love about these books is that they do make you feel, they do teach you ways in which to level up. And yeah, you do have to, one of the books we read was like, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you're comfortable and you're just like, you know what, I'm just doing this today, I don't feel like doing that today, well, you're gonna stay in the same level. So for sure, but what I was saying is that even with that, you can still allow those level ups happen if you put it into your calendar and your schedule, because you will not level up by chance. You will level up only if you have planned it. So that's what I'm trying to get at. But like, yeah, I mean, maybe not dorky, like we just like to read books, right? So yeah, because I saw your face, you're like, I'm not a dork. What are you saying?
No. But
you know what I mean.
If you're maybe somebody that always like wanted to read, or it's always like, I'm gonna read more, and it's like almost on your mind, like, oh, I don't even want to admit to myself that I'm not reading.
Yeah.
And we're doing a lot of the audiobooks. The way I thought about it was like that I saw how my brain and my thoughts and my beliefs and everything, like I've already seen how far that could bring me, like especially after university. I feel like the only books I read, like none of them were for personal development. Like I just couldn't handle any more pages for that. But now with the audiobooks, it's like I get to take a break from my thoughts and like insert Grant Cardone's thoughts, or like insert, you know, whoever is somebody you want to be more like. And I think if like you just listen to it long enough, that some of these will become your own.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like hypnosis.
Yeah.
it's like take a break from your own thoughts and insert others and
thoughts.
Even on audio, you'll actually hear them.
Yeah. No, I think like, I mean, you're mentioning Grant because this month's book is 10X, so shout out to him. But yeah, so we read many different books, and it's like all about building mindset, being able to be more service driven, results driven, and you know, making sure that we can actually produce results both for our clients and for our team. So yeah, that's basically it. That's like our culture. Like we are invested in each other's growth, and I love that about us. Now, what else do we have going for today?
Yeah, so we had a lot. I just wanted to say too that with our team, like I love the books because they bring an idea forward, and then also like being immersed in the team, having like people around you that will like allow you to facilitate that, because knowledge is like doesn't really matter if you don't put it into action. So through our calendar, through our team, through like our support, we can actually put them into action. You also had the $100 gift card to announce.
Yeah, so we did do a little pop here, thanks to Sydney. She put everybody's names that participated in our $100 gift card. I promised back when I was in, I was actually doing the conference in Toronto. I promised the participants, so we are a little bit late because I have to admit, because I said October 15th, but hey, better late than never. So with that, and maybe next time, next live, we'll be at a different location, not necessarily fully our location because it's still undergoing getting ready and all those things. But without further ado, let's go ahead and do this. So we put it in one of our
Okay, do you want me to hold it?
Okay,
you
fine.
pick?
Maybe cover it and then shake it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to look. So I'm looking at you guys. Hello, thank you so much for joining. Okay, I wasn't supposed to look, so let's see. And the winner of this $100 gift card is Jennifer Campos. There you go, Jennifer. I don't know if you can see it, but you can take a picture of it and zoom in. Literally says her name. Okay, so congratulations, Jennifer. We'll send this over to you. Thank you for all of you that have participated. Thank you so much for joining. I am seeing Nasreen. Hi, Nasreen. I am so sorry. We'll get a better setup to be able to communicate with our peeps and say hello. But honestly, thank you so much for being part of this live. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy this. We're open to like suggestions. Hopefully you'll have a better understanding of like the realtor life, you know, and yeah, we look forward to doing this again. It's a beautiful day. We are going into Halloween. Do you have your Halloween costume picked out yet?
I don't know if I'll need one or not, but I was thinking, like, I saw this headband with, like, I don't know, do you know the like Sims, like the video game? So it's like all the Sims, they have this like green thing, and you could just wear whatever you want. It's like you can put the Sim headband. It's like, oh, I'm a Sim realtor, or I'm a Sim.
All right.
Whatever.
Is that like? Because I remember way back. This is when I was younger, which I still am. But is it like basically they get into like relationships, like it's like following a life and all that?
It's like it's like life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like
okay.
But you can like create people and create all this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really into it in the lockdown and stuff. And then yeah, when you're doing life, like I don't have that much time to like have like a real work and a sim work.
I get it. Oh my gosh. So I have a good idea. I had this idea a while back, but I never did it. So for those of you guys that want kind of an idea and you are a realtor or a business person, I saw one time this person take a business card, made it like this. This
huge.
Yeah, this big of a card. And then the part where it's like your picture, that was where like the opening was. So like it was their picture.
They're a business card.
Yeah. And walking around. And that's totally something a realtor would do. Because realtors are always prospecting. Not here though, guys. We don't prospect because you guys come to us and we love you. So thank you so much, Jennifer. Congratulations. And thank you, Nasreen June. So there it is. Thank you. Have an amazing rest of the day, and see you next week. If you have any suggestions, let us know. Thanks. Bye for now.